but it goes into something. I've heard a lot of target individuals say, "Oh, they're trying to say it's a virus now." They're trying to put out that story that it's a virus now because of the specific physical damage that it's caused to the 24 State Department workers. But I want it to kind of make people feel a little bit better. They're not necessarily releasing information that it is a virus. That's just something that they're putting into the investigation. It's a possibility that they are looking at. And I mean, I know that's BS. I think that a lot of people know that that's BS, that a virus would ever work that way. But that's just something they're investigating in the Senate hearings. It's not actually like they're putting out information saying it's definitely a virus. Okay, and so this is something else I want to talk about. I'm very disappointed, but I do want to read to y'all the Google link. It's an article from AFP.com. This is a French online paper. AFP.com. U.S. Okay, I want to see if I can get close. U.S. still at a loss to explain Cuba attacks in quotations on envoys. And it's at AFP.com. U.S. still at a loss to explain Cuba attacks on envoys. Now I'm going to read out the entire link, and I want people to try and go to this and see if they can pull it up. I'm going to talk to the guy. His name's Inca Rhodes on the calls. He comes on my calls, and he always brings great links. He's really trying to, stop this stuff. He's a targeted individual, and he put this article. I would have never been able to find it. But I pulled up the article, and it has one of the most important quotes from anybody so high up, and it's Marco Rubio, the U.S. Senator from Florida. But I cannot get back to the article. I got it from him, but I think that he's probably screenshotted it. Everybody kind of saved it as a favorite, but we still can't get back to it. But I do want to give you the link. HTTPS www.afp.com/en/826/US still loss explain Cuba attacks envoys doc W52X. Now I'm going to try and go to it, but I saw that the article has been taken down. It's from January 9th. The whole article, I'll read the first part of it. More than a year since the first of 24 U.S. diplomats and family members fell victim to a mystery attack in Havana, the United States is still at a loss to explain what happened. Only one thing is clear. The U.S. government holds Cuba responsible, arguing that Raul Castro's authoritarian state must have either... And then it goes on. Now in the article it goes down, and this is a quote. This is a quote from this article. Let's see if I can go to it. But take that... take this link down and see if y'all can go to it. And I'm going to ask the guy who presented me with this article if he took a screenshot so I can show y'all, because it's an important quote. And it just brings me to the page. It brings me to their main page, and I cannot find it again. I asked somebody last night, and they said that if something's not that important and it is old news, they will just kind of throw it out. So I don't think it's I don't think it's some kind of conspiracy. I don't think they took it down because of this quote. But further down in the article, Marco Rubio was asked by reporters, what he thought that it was. And he said, well, and this is a quote from Marco Rubio, kind of paraphrased, but pretty much what he said is, he said, well, it could be sonic, it could be microwaves. So he said that exactly. He said it could be sonic, it could be microwaves. So he said the word microwaves. And then he went on to say, in the context of they just need to find out what's going on, it really doesn't make a difference what it is. We just need to find out. We need to find out exactly what it is, and we need to find out exactly who did it. So he did say that in a quote. He said it could be sonic, it could be microwaves. Like he said, it could be microwaves. Marco Rubio did. Now, why that's so important to target individuals and everybody else too is that Marco Rubio actually did some real investigation. He talked to John Hall, who knows a lot about this stuff. He really investigated because he really cares about what's going on in Cuba. Some other people have told me they have problems with some of his other policies, but I'm kind of laser beam focused on what can help target individuals at this moment. And I think he is a great hope because he is, a chairman of the Senate committee investigating this, and he's, telling reporters, which, hopefully we will see this wording in American articles, and hopefully I can get the article from the guy that I got it from. Hopefully he took a screenshot of it, and I wish I would have done it that night. I just wish I would have done the video that night, but I did not know they were going to take it down. But Marco Rubio is quoted as saying it could be sonic, it could be microwaves, because he's actually looking into directed energy weapon systems. He's looking into electromagnetic attacks. He's really actually investigating. So, there's a Senate committee now to investigate the Cuban attacks. The hope of target individuals is just more and more can come out about these type of attacks and help us out, and help people to realize that this stuff is going on, that they are researching and developing directed energy weapon systems, electromagnetic targeting, microwave targeting, RF targeting, many frequencies on the electromagnetic spectrum. They have the ability to remotely hit targets. And somebody in Cuba did this to the State Department workers. My personal opinion in editorialization is that I do think it was Cuban intelligence. I kind of, I've studied a lot of this, and I've studied about it, and the way that Cuba is trying to deny it and say it was bugs, cicadas, this and that, has no idea about it. The government is saying the U.S. is just trying to make all this up. I don't think that they would be denying it so thoroughly. They would be like, yeah, U.S. come in and investigate. We don't know what's going on. Something could have happened. If it was like Russia, they would have said, hey, come on in. We don't know who did this. Come on in and investigate. I think because of their the denial of this, I really think that it was Cuban intelligence. And with what they can do with some of these frequencies, they can remote neural monitor people. That means they can get signals from their brain. I mean, they can kind of monitor your inner voice. They can pick up visuals. They can get signals from a biorelevant feedback loop with these frequencies, with these electromagnetic frequencies, to pick up signals from the brain and also send signals. So they probably would have been. It's kind of like getting information. You could get information from all these State Department workers, whether they're spies, whether, what kind of information they have, what their plans for Cuba are. So I think that the Cuban intelligence could have been, using these things like the people researching and developing directed energy weapon systems are doing to their targets. They traumatize them. They do the high-pitched sound. Like tinnitus sound, and the pain is a censorship of thought, and it actually clears neural pathways so that they can pick up and send signals more easily, so the brain is more receptive to these frequencies. So the trauma is needed, trauma-based mind control. I don't call it mind control, but trauma-based mind rape. That's what I call it, or trauma-based behavioral control, trauma-based remote neural monitoring, trauma-based remote neural manipulation. They have to have trauma in there so that the brain will receive these signals that they're sending, and so that they can pick up signals easier from the brain with these signals, with these frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies, or in on the scale of electromagnetic frequencies sits radio frequencies, microwave, ultrasound, many different frequencies on the electromagnetic spectrum. So okay guys, I wish I could have shown y'all that quote, but I saw it with my own eyes, and it was on this site. And I wish I would have done the video. When was it? It was on Thursday, well, Friday early morning. It was still up there, but then Saturday night, like last night, I went in and the article is now gone. But Marco Rubio, to all target individuals who want to know who to contact, who to call, who to send letters to about this, we need to contact Marco Rubio because he seems like a moral man. He seems like he tells the truth. And I do not think a lot of senators and representatives know about this. I don't think I think maybe a few of them might, but I think a lot of them are left in the dark about this research and research and development, human experimentation, human trafficking, whatever you want to call it. The Department of Defense gives out defense contracts to third-party contractors. These are private companies that are networking with like ex-military, ex-CIA, ex-whatever. They get into an industry. This is a business where they are torturing people, sending signals to and from their brain, and torturing them with microwaves and electromagnetic attacks to further develop these weapons and to further and develop what these weapons can do to the brain and the nervous system. Take heed, people. I know target individuals, like you're doing a great job out there. If you are still just alive and still living your life and fighting, you are doing awesome. The ones who are making videos and getting the information out, working on calls and just bringing links to the calls, you're doing a hero's job. But people who are not target individuals, this is very, very important. It's being abused, and that is a word that just doesn't cut it. I mean, people are being murdered. People are being murdered and experimented on all throughout this video. I have voice to skull, which is the microwave hearing effect. That's one way they can do voice to skull, by a certain electromagnetic frequency that is really classified as a microwave going straight to the brain and actually heating up brain tissue. And as that brain tissue cools, it sends signals to the ear, to the second part of the ear, bypassing those first bundle of nerves in your ear. So you hear voices and it seems like it's at a distance. I've been being hit in the chest while I made this video, and I'm hit 24 hours a day. For 8 years I've known about it, and it's been the high-pitched tinnitus sound, like the State Department workers have complained about. The V2K came months later, about 6 months later. Before that, 10 years before that, pain in my jaw and my back, but I did not know that I was being hit with this stuff because, you're not looking out for it. Like we don't know that this stuff exists until we're hit with it because it's being hid by by defense contractors, by the Department of Defense, the DIA, the CIA, certain, I guess Air Force knows about it. Certain arms of certain armed forces know about it, but especially the manufacturers and the third-party contractors are all keeping it covered up because they know that if the world public knew that children, teenagers, people my age, people in their 20s, I'm in my 30s, all the way to 80 years old, and at the end of life they're experimenting on people with these weapons, electromagnetic weapons, directed energy weapon systems. So this is very important information, guys. Please, if you're a non-TI and you're listening to this video, look at some of my other videos, look at other target individuals' videos. I'm going to come back, guys, other target individuals, and go through some more articles. I'm hoping I can get this from Inca. I hope he took a screenshot of it. I'm going to talk to him, and then I can show you that quote. But Marco Rubio said, and this is very, very important, he's a senator from Florida who is, chairman on this committee. He said it could be sonic attacks, could be microwaves. It could be microwaves. So he's researching this and what can actually do this stuff. What would cause damage to the white matter tracts of the brain, because sonic weapons can't do that. Alright guys, I'm getting to about 45 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and end this one. God is behind us. I'll be back with more very soon, guys. I love y'all, and I hope you're doing well.